Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in this wonderful world. Hello, Amanda. Amanda, I cannot hear you. Can you check your volume? Folks, this is a first where we cannot hear Amanda. Oh my gosh. She's smiling. That's a good thing. Keep her smiling now. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to the broadcast today. We've got quite a few topics to go over with you today. And as Amanda's getting her camera work in, you would think that we'd have all of these technical challenges worked out, but you think about how far we've come in just such a short amount of time with all of the technical accomplishments that we've made over the years. It's just amazing how we have all of these platforms that we get to work with and how we can, collaborate with others around the world, next door, down the hallway, and all the way around the world. I'm broadcasting from Oakley, California, and once you join, you'll be in a guest and show them. Let's see. Okay. There you go, Amanda. I think you're in.
Am I?
Alrighty.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for that guidance there. She's the technical wizard, so every once in a while she needs to help this old girl get some things done. So thank you so much. Appreciate that.
It's okay.
You would have had sign language, and I'm glad you didn't give me the one finger sign language. Appreciate that. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh.
Okay, well, I missed how you started off there.
Well, we're using a platform called Be Live, everybody, and I'm still getting acquainted with that. Amanda had control of all of the bells and whistles with this the first couple of episodes, and I've got them this time, so I'm still getting acquainted with how everything works. So anyway, let's see if I can, there we go, bring us both in here. Yes, I like that one better. How about that one? Okay. So folks, thank you and welcome. Appreciate having you here today. My name is Christy Matthews. I'm broadcasting from Oakley, California. And I don't know how many miles that is from you, Amanda, but go for it.
Yep, I'm Amanda Ashton Booth, and I am in Scotland, UK, in a little place called Inverurie, a little bit out in the sticks. Not too bad though. So we are the Fibropreneurs.
Good morning, good morning. It's good to have you all here. So we've got quite a few things for you today, and we're going to start off with our Fibro fog of the moment, and we're going to share a couple other things. We're going to talk about essential oils, talk a little bit more about Epsom Salt Baths, what kind of personality types are prone to fibromyalgia, when working becomes too difficult and you're thinking about, is it time to hang it up, maybe do something else? And sex. Is sex good for fibromyalgia? Well, we'll talk about that too. And we're going to close out today with some tips on how to not stress yourself out about your home-based business, on just some marketing tips so that you can keep your business going when you feel like you can't. So, Amanda, why don't you take it away, would you please?
Yeah, so I did want to do the fibrofog moment of the week last week, so I've been saving a couple up. Um, okay, so I'm going to start with the funny one. You know, there's always a fibrofog moment where you laugh at yourself and you find it really funny because it's just so silly. Well, mine's it's so funny. I can't even say it. I was making my cup of tea, and I was just in cuckoo land as always. Went to the fridge, took out a carton, and poured some apple juice into it instead of milk. So that was my "oh you idiot" moment of the week, you know, and laughing, and I found it really funny. But the other side of it is, you know, there's always a moment with fibrofog where we can feel really teary or embarrassed, where we've done something and we just feel so stupid in that moment, you know. And I think it's really important to hit upon that point because it it happens to us all, you know. And another thing is, you know what? It happens to everybody, not just people with fibromyalgia, okay? It happens to everybody. Everybody does stupid things from time to time. However, when we do something silly or we have a bit of a brain fog moment, we kind of beat ourselves up about it more. So my moment of that, like over the last like week or so, was I'm helping out down at the community centre. Now the one thing that I was most nervous about was the till, because it's working with numbers and it's all like technical and the till and stuff. I was really, really worried about that. And I did the cashing up at the end of the night, which was pressure on me in the first place. You know, I'm cashing up, I'm in charge of cashing up all this stuff. And I kept putting in the wrong amount into the till. For 2 weeks running, I was doing it wrong. Instead, I was putting in the total amount instead of the cleared amount, and it was screwing up the whole sheet, which made me feel really, really stupid because I had to then tell the manager in the community centre, you know, I feel like an idiot. But they kept saying, you know, we all did it when we first started, you know. But it is a point that people, like somebody with fibromyalgia, we beat ourselves up even more than the average person would.
Yeah, that's true. Very much true. Well, my fibro fog moment has been, and I guess I'm a little self-conscious about this because, you know, my dad just was diagnosed with dementia, and it's really showing. And my mom's memory is failing too. And I've noticed that I've had these moments to where all of a sudden the thought leaves. I was doing a Facebook Live the other day, and this gentleman's name that I remember all the time, just I couldn't remember during the Facebook Live, and I'm going, whoops, I'm having a fibro moment. And you know what? I'm just calling it CRS. And you know what that means? Can't remember yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm glad you kept that clean.
So there's my fibro moment, or my fibro fog moment. So there you go.
And you know what? You will with your parents, you will be able to really relate even more because you have fibromyalgia when they've got their diagnosis.
Yeah.
I'll bet because you know, I watched a video of a nurse, and she had worked for 20 odd years, like most of her life on a dementia unit on a ward, and she did a video, and this has just come to me now, but she did a video saying, you know, she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and she couldn't believe it, and she thought it was like early onset dementia.
Exactly.
As that, so you will be able to understand.
It works in the back of my mind and go, oh my gosh, I hope that's not happening to me. You know, it's just, oh. Anyway, but I went through this years ago when I first got diagnosed, and then, you know, it cleared up. And I find that when I'm under periods of stress, the memory gets challenged a little bit more. So it's the way it is. Yeah, it is. So, it kind of runs, you get fatigue and, it just runs the gamut. So anyway, shall we move on to the next topic?
Yes.
Well, I've been experimenting a little bit with essential oils. And a few years ago, a client of mine, they've been into healthy remedies and so forth, and they actually made this homemade brew that they were going to market. And it's very cool, and I felt so honored that they gave me a proprietary copy of this. And I've held on to it, and it's such a little bit goes a long way. And it made me think about sharing this with all of you too, and how much this stuff really works and how you can actually make your own at home. This particular brew has MSM in it, emu oil, the oils like I call it jojoba, but I think it's jojoba oil. You can use almond oil. The light oils you can use as carrier oils. They have coconut oil is also another one that will allow the essential oils to mix better and so that they don't evaporate. And then capsicum. Capsicum is kind of like red peppers, and it really helps with pain. And what it does is that it goes to the pain center, and because it's so hot, it kind of tricks the nerve and can kind of shut down the nerve message. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, we'll put a copy of this article up, but I found an article by Organic Authority, and I just want to thank these folks for putting this article up on the internet. But it's make your own essential oil sore muscle rub. And having had a cold just about a week ago, I had the sorest sinuses and so forth, so I was just miserable, and I went ahead and pulled out some essential oils, and doggone, this stuff really does work. I had the eucalyptus oil working and the lavender oil, and I know how much you just love lavender oil, Amanda. But then I have some, orange oil and so forth, so I just started playing with it, and pretty good stuff. So you can make salves and liniments, but there's like I was talking about, the carrier oils like jojoba oil, apricot kernel oil, almond oil, sesame oil, or you can use a combination of them all. You just take just a small amount of your essential oils, and you can mix them too, such as eucalyptus, cinnamon, peppermint, camphor, rosemary. Oh, rosemary is awesome. And then you can take lavender and black pepper oil. And then you can, for salves, you can get some beeswax. And I think you can get that at health food stores. I haven't purchased any yet, but that's on my list of things to do. I'm going to try this. And it's supposed to be pretty easy to do. You put it in a double boiler, and you whip all of this stuff up together, put it in your double boiler, melt down the beeswax, put it in a mason jar, let it cool down, and then you have a salve at home, and you rub it into the sore muscles. And if you have sore feet, for instance, put it on your feet, put a sock on, and voila, you should feel pretty good. So I hope that this all helps you out, and I'll put a copy of this article up on the page, so you'll have a copy for yourself. So there you go. You want to take away the Epsom Salt Baths?
Yeah, I was just looking for the script there because I'm having to do everything off the computer. Sorry about that, guys. My printer decided to go kaput, so I haven't been able to print off the list of stuff. So I'm like looking down and trying to do everything on the laptop at the side there. But yeah, When I am feeling a bit fatigued and a bit tired and run down, I love to have an Epsom salt bath because it just kind of makes you feel so relaxed. Everything just, all the tension just goes away. I mean, I have my baths really piping hot as well. You might want to work up to the piping hot, but me, I just dip straight in there to the piping hot bath. But I think, Christy, you said that even if you can't be bothered going into the bath, you could be just sitting watching TV with a basin and just pouring the Epsom salts into there and just hot water and just soak your feet into it, because it's the magnesium it absorbs into the body and works its way through. But that really, really does work. I've been using Epsom salts for about 9 months now.
Yeah.
I've been buying it by the bag load. I've still yet to find a bigger bag, but the biggest bag I've found is like about
They come
that
with 4
size.
pounds. Yeah, about 4 pounds worth. And don't be chintzy, you guys. You have to use a significant amount of it to really get the benefit of it. But
Mhm.
heck, there's a comment that I heard is that you got to learn how to float your cork. Okay, and your cork's got to be, visualize a cork floating in the water. And that's how you want to be able to be. You want to be able to be relaxed enough to where you're floating your damn cork. Okay. So,
Nice analogy.
yeah, and Epsom salts really helps do that. But if you're not going to get the benefit of it, and I've heard people say, oh, that stuff doesn't work. And I was one of those people until Cynthia Lacunza, our chiropractor up in the Reading area, that said, you're just not using enough of it. Get a 4-pound bag and use half of it. So I actually use about a third of a bag of a 4-pound bag. That's about a pound, a little over a pound of Epsom salts in a bathtub full of water. So, if you're going to sit in a basin, you still need a significant amount of it. And the whole thing about skin absorption, it's the best way to get that into your body. I mean, it's just a tremendous way to carry that through your body.
I will have one about 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, a basin is very good, but if you don't want to, take a basin and having to worry about filling it up or whatnot, take your bathtub, put a chair right next to the bathtub, fill your bathtub up to a point to where you stick your feet in there and fill it up to a point to where, it's halfway up your legs, or your calves, I should say, so that your calves are getting the relaxation and the feeling of the hot water, and just sit there for about 20 minutes and read a book, put on some headphones or whatever, and relax. Float your cork. If you got to put a cork in the bathtub to remind you to have a visualization, float the cork and start to relax. But there are so many. We've got an article that we'll put up that's got 20 benefits of Epsom salts. I mean, they're mind-blowing benefits of Epsom salts, and they've been used for thousands of years. And they're just so good for you and such a natural remedy. So can't say enough about them, and I'm sure that we'll be talking about them again. But they're so essential for muscle and nerve function. And, most people are so deficient of magnesium anyway because we just can't get it in our food. Did you find the article, Amanda?
No. No.
There's a couple other things that I wanted to bring out here. The other thing I didn't realize about magnesium and Epsom salts is that it also improves the circulation. Maybe this happens with you too. When I get out of an Epsom salt bath, I just start perspiring for a good 20 to 25 minutes later. And I think it's because what it does is that it improves your circulation, and I think that that's what's happening. And
Yeah.
I thought I guess I am detoxing from that, but I also think it's from the improved circulation that's going on after getting out of the bathtub.
I never thought about that, because I do, for the next hour, like,
That's true. And then
yeah.
the other thing it does is that it regulates your blood sugar. So those of you who are having difficulty, maybe you're pre-diabetic or you are diabetic, it's a great way to add on to your diabetic or your insulin resistance regime to regulate your blood sugar. And a lot of people with fibromyalgia has constipation. They're plugged up. They're carrying it with them all the time. So it's a good way to kind of, let things go, get it out of you, detox yourself. So there's this a great article. There's some other things that you can do that's more, not so, I'm going to say.
I mentioned the exfoliating your skin the other day, didn't I? Exfoliating.
It is very good for exfoliating, and they have a couple of other household uses that you can use Epsom salts for. It will refresh your laundry, for instance. When you get detergent built up in your laundry and your washing machine and so forth, it will help with that as well without damaging the machine. So there's a lot of
adds
stuff.
volume to your hair.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Never knew that.
Great stuff. So I hope that helps you guys. So Chris, can you use it another way? Don't have a bath. Hi, good to see you, Chris. Hi, Keith. Thanks for joining in. Jojoba oil. Thank you so much. Can you use it another way? Well, Chris, if you have like a basin, that would be a way that you can use the Epsom salt baths or the Epsom salts. Anything anything that can hold water that you can go ahead and put your feet in or actually sponge it onto your skin is the best way. Any way that you can get it onto your skin and do it, applying it to your skin for about 20 minutes would be a great way to do it. Okay, I hope that answers your question. So let's go on to the next topic, huh? So there are some characteristics, personality characteristics of those with fibromyalgia.
Without going into the post about it, personally, just off the top of my head, I would say people with fibromyalgia are very sensitive, very, very, very sensitive. They're very sensitive people. That is like a huge characteristic. That is like I would say that really is number one.
Yeah.
For characteristic. Quite emotional people.
I'd say emotional too, and can feel, not only emotionally but feel, physically feel, might be able to be more sensitive to hearing. Everything just seems to. I like to refer to fibromyalgia like a volume knob.
We're just turned right up.
Yeah, it's sometimes, and the same thing with pain. It could be turned up or we can turn it down. And the same thing with fibromyalgia, it can be set off by light, noise. Funny little story I got to share with you. I was with a bunch of ladies, and you know how us ladies can get a little bit loud, a little cackly sounding, a little screechy with our voices. And it's just the way we are. It's the way we're wired. And I was in the back seat of the car, and I was having a difficult time with my fibromyalgia. In fact, I had flown across country, so I was a little jet lagged. And I was in the back of the car with these women, and it was just too loud for me. And I just couldn't, I felt like I was shrinking into my own little space because it was so loud and the volume was turned up so much. And the person I was with, I said, does this seem really loud to you? And she didn't think anything of it. But to me, it just seemed so hyper loud. And I was so sensitive. It just felt like the voices were jumping off of my skin. And so I don't know. Can any of you relate to that? I mean, it just
I
wasn't
can
fun.
relate.
Yeah. So
Everything
like
that's going on around about, you're affected by it. Everything. You're
yeah,
more aware.
yeah,
You have a much higher awareness,
yes.
and I don't know if that's due to sensitivity or what, but yeah,
I am.
bright light.
Yeah, Chris, with the bright lights especially.
To think of it, when I leave the homeless unit, when I help out, like when I go and do a shift there on a night shift, when I've been sitting in that office, when I leave in the morning at 7 in the morning, it's light. I feel that my head and the bright light going straight out into the bright light, that affects me and causes migraines.
Yeah, this is kind of a little digression, but I wanted to address that because, I suffer with the migraines too. And recently I just got a pair of sunglasses called Cocoons. And Cocoons actually has like this little shelf. You know how you wear your glasses? Light can get in behind the glasses and they can get in on the sides. And so I wear prescription glasses anyway. So these sunglasses fit over my glasses and they have these little, like I said, a little shelf. And as soon as I put them on, I just feel the muscles in my forehead and within my eyes just relax. And it's just amazing. But it's true, Chris and Amanda, I get the same way. Light can just trigger a migraine headache and just intensify and can dictate how the rest of the day is going to be. If I get out in the bright light first thing in the morning and I'm just kind of set up and ready for a migraine that day. So those pair of Cocoons has been a lifesaver. And you can find them on Amazon.com, any kind of sporting goods store. So anyway, as I digress on that. But I found this article in Psychology Today, and it was written by a therapist who has some chronic pain disorder herself. And so it was good to see this article that she wrote because as she's dealing with people who also has pain disorders and also those with personality disorders, she was able to put this into a kind of a different perspective that I think we all can relate to. And what she summed it up to be is that, most doctors just don't want to deal with us. In a lot of ways, they just throw us because we're so difficult to deal with as far as a diagnostic perspective. There isn't, they can't put a stethoscope on us and tell us what's wrong with us. They can't run a blood test and tell us what's wrong with us. And they can't give us a medication that's going to resolve it like an antibiotic would get rid of an infection. And then the same thing with those that have personality disorders. Those are people that are extremely emotional and it's not so much that there's problems with them. It's just that in people with personality disorders, they have, let's say, they have heightened sensitivities as well that affects their personalities. Whereas with fibromyalgia, we have heightened sensitivities that affect our, let's see if I can say it, musculoskeletal system. And this is why it's actually been now recategorized more of a neurological type of system or problem because it runs along our nervous system. And so we deal with a bias. People with chronic pain, we're often as maligned as difficult. And they don't want to, like I said, healthcare professionals don't want to treat people with either one of these conditions. And so, you know, and fibromyalgia has been called kind of a garbage can diagnosis. I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, I don't feel very good knowing, oh, garbage can diagnosis, you know?
The thing is, how they ultimately diagnose through like a whole host of tests, but then they boil it down to a sheet of symptoms.
Right.
Many symptoms. Now, if you have so many of those symptoms on the sheet, then you're classed and categorized as fibromyalgia.
Right.
However, not each person will have the same host of symptoms off that sheet, which then makes you wonder, does each person have a different illness?
Let's see. Chris says, I get told to learn how to manage it by Doc in a nice way. I think his hands are tied to how he can help me. Suggest I talk. You see, exactly, Chris. They want to send you over to a mental health professional because they think it's in your head, but it's really not. You know, and I'm so sorry that that's happening to you because it is wrong. Your doctor should realize that it is a physical condition. It is not a mental condition. The physical condition can cause a mental, I'm not going to even call it that. It can cause some depression down the road because of the fatigue and the frustration it causes, a lot of times from the frustration of not getting the attention that you need from your medical professionals.
We may go mental, but we are not mental.
You know, I so appreciate what you're saying, Chris, and I'm so sorry that you're going through that because I went through that myself. And, you know, hopefully you will find a practitioner that will align with you and understand and respect the fact that it is not a mental health problem, that there might be some mental health components that do develop because of that. You know, I went through a clinical depression as a result of the fibromyalgia because of the pure exhaustion and the fatigue that my fibromyalgia caused.
Can I just say,
of course, please.
Don't like, in my personal opinion, and you know, I have obviously experience in this and trying to get better. I got better when I stepped away from the medical. I got better when I stepped away. Don't go looking for that doctor because really, ultimately, you're not going to find that doctor in a medical practice. You are going to find that doctor in yourself and building your own knowledge and educating yourself in what's good for your body, because nobody knows your body like you do. Okay, and nobody knows what you're going through as much as you do. So the best way to do it is like we have done. We've educated ourselves. We've learned to manage and with certain things, and this is why we want to share. This is why we want to share all this information with others, so that we can then show other people how we've managed.
You know, and I agree with that, but I also want to address one thing now. And this is very important to those who may be considering going, and this is one of the topics we're going to talk about here today, is when to decide that you might have to hang it up, when you might have to stop working, because you have to go to the doctor. You have to be established, because if you are going to go out on disability, you must have it in your medical record and have it documented by a medical professional who can say that you have had your activities of daily living has been affected in such a way to where you cannot work. And so I'm sorry. You know, I agree with that, Amanda, but there is also that other journey you must go through. If you are
in the UK, it's not as advanced. in the
I
UK
understand.
as the US, though. The US, there is a lot more help in the US than there is in the UK, because we're only just being recognised as it existing, really. Their own, I mean, we're still sending out petitions to have it recognised as a disability. So these are kind of ahead, and there's been a lot more research done in the US as well.
Well, with it being recategorized as ME now, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. I think it's coming your way, so don't despair. It is coming. But I know it wasn't just, it was the same thing here. I first encountered this over 10 years ago, and I didn't get the recognition for it until just about 2 years ago. So it was a battle, a long battle. Hi, Corinder. So, and yes, your doctor can make you feel terrible, and it can make you feel like a fraud. I even had a judge here in the United States, because, I had to go through the disability process, who actually said that I might have actually been malingering my problem. And it's like, I felt like, giving her the single fingered salute, because she wasn't walking in my shoes, and I was I was giving up a wonderful career to go on disability for a meager survival type of income that nobody should have to be able to live on, but it was better than nothing. And I was fighting for that, and to have somebody say that I was malingering myself, to walk away from what I walked away from, I mean, it was just absolutely insulting. So anyway, are they afraid that people want to give up working? I think that, Chris, some people do work the system, but I'm going to say 99% of the people that are going through the things that we're going through, no, they're not. And what you're going to get from government assistance is not enough to make it worth, giving up what you've worked your entire life for to go on disability for. It's just ludicrous to me. So when you need disability, it's because you need it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going on a disability show. Hey, we'd like to know more about that, Corinder. Excellent. So anyway, we've got an article here that's from WebMD. It is a website here in the United States, and it's like you're on a stage 2 disabling at work for time off. Excellent. Excellent, Chris.
Wow.
So good for you. Keep fighting, you guys. Keep fighting. And I want to add something to what Amanda said. 2 prongs. For me, I had to go 2 prongs. I had to go down the medical pathway to get to a point to where I could stabilize my life, because it was in a downward spiral. I needed to have that financial support so that I could stop that spiral. Once I stabilized, I found a pathway which eventually brought us, Amanda and I together, which brought us to you, and found a way of self-healing. And and it was through another organization, and it's kind of a long explanation, and we're glad to do that maybe at another time. But it was to where we were encouraged to work on ourselves, to build ourselves up, to believe in ourselves, to just accept us for where we are at this point in time, to read inspiring quotes, to just continually build ourselves up regardless of what we're dealing with. There are people that are in the home-based business profession who, have disabilities that are way beyond what we are all dealing with. And it's absolutely amazing that they are out there just doing amazing things, and they are so inspiring. And to have found those people and to have connected with them actually gives you some energy and makes you want to go out there and and share and help others. And this is why we're doing what we're doing here right now. And I tell you, it made a big change for me. It helped me just do a 180 from where I was and help kind of reshape how I deal with pain. And I still have the pain. Nothing's really changed in that regard, but I just don't take the medication I used to take. A lot of things just changed because my mindset towards everything changed. So it's not mental in any way, and it isn't anything that my doctor gave me, but my doctor was a part of the whole pathway to where I am at right now, and that was my own personal journey. So that's all I got to say about that.
Reestablishing your identity.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Yeah, and getting rid of that stigma. So anyway, let's move on, shall we? Let's see. Oh, here's one for you. How about a little entertainment and little excitement in the bedroom, huh? You want to take that one, Amanda?
Why not? Okay, so the other day, I sent Christy a really nice little message, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Along the lines of, you know, if I had more sex, you know, I probably feel a lot less tension. I probably feel a lot more healed. A woman has needs, you know. And it's true because I was sitting thinking about it, and I was being serious. I was being really serious. I wasn't even just being funny. Although it was funny, ironic in the sense, you know, but I was being serious, you know. When you have constant chronic fatigue and constant pain, your body is feeling unloved. Your body is feeling like really horrible, and you know, and you're feeling okay, and you might put weight on, and you might, you know, there's lots of things that are wrong with you, so you're feeling really down with this. So a bit of affection, a bit of love, a bit of hanky panky, you know, in the bedroom department is going to make you feel, and I'm not being funny, it is proven scientifically that an orgasm actually makes you feel, you know,
big endorphin release. You're releasing those pain relieving endorphins.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have an issue with giggle. Hubby is brilliant. Yes, excellent. But it's true. I mean, it is such a good point, and it's kind of an edgy, touchy point. But it's absolutely right, Amanda. You bet.
You're at your most loved and your most affectioned, and you know, you feel, you know, that really at home feeling, and you're relaxed.
Yeah. You know, and sometimes, and it's not about, you know,
I'd rather that than the Epsom Salt Bath.
There you go.
For relaxation.
Well, you're floating your cork, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
But you know, it's funny as you're talking about that, and we're not talking about, you know, the raging hormone, you know, gotta, you know, do it, you know, moment you think about raging sex kind of stuff. It's just that, you know, it's just the connection. You know, yeah. Sometimes the body just hurts so much that just it's not so much the whole sexual act. It's right, Chris. It's cuddling. It's just, you know, hugging. You know, just the connection. You know,
There is a bit of a point to hit upon on this, though, on a serious level. Okay, when people, when those diagnosed with fibromyalgia are going through the process from the very start of going through all the tests and everything, it can actually take a lot out for relationship.
Yes, and it does.
And then there's less affection where really you need more, and that I've spoken to a lot of people, and this has been the case, and the partner, there's various ways to look at it. The partner is really tired of going through all of the palaver that you're going through, because they feel it as well. It's that they're going through it just as much as we are, but then there's the fact of they don't understand it completely, and therefore sometimes they don't want to hurt you.
True, exactly. Yeah, they don't want to hurt you.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Very good point. Very, very good point. So, yes, Chris, always cuddle. I think that's a good point. You bet.
I like a good cuddle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just normal, for humans, they need just touch and contact. So I think it's an important thing. So, well, we're going to finish off with our marketing moment. And Amanda's got some awesome tasks that she has outlined for another group that she leads. And she's going to kind of share some things with us. So when we're having, our fibro moments, what are the most, important things to get done? And there's kind of like a smorgasbord of things that we can look at and choose from, just so that we can keep our businesses going.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it is if you have an online business and you have a chronic condition where you're tired and you can't be bothered doing everything that's a lot of coaches will tell you to do. There's a lot of coaches, and it causes a little bit more pressure on you. But I have learned to adjust things. Now, I do have a group for just a whole host of clients learning how to market. So this is a checklist that I have as a pinned post in that group for them. However, I'm going to go through it bit by bit, but tell you how you can adjust that for your personal needs, as I do, because I don't do everything on it, but it gives you a checklist to go by to try and pick some from. Because we all know that focus is quite difficult sometimes, and you need that checklist to just run over now and again to keep you on the right direction. I know that I need that. Yeah. So we'll start with your personal profile, okay? So a live video, okay, and another couple of posts, and trying to send out a daily email broadcast. Now, don't worry if you can't do it all. This is the important thing. If you can't do it all, for somebody with chronic fatigue, you don't want to get yourself stressed out over it. I've done below this some post ideas, okay? So inspirational quotes, life experiences. So a quote with a picture, or you have the new coloured thing for your text to go in. You can do a quote on there. Your life experience. So if you're out doing something, post about it. Let people know that you're out and about and that you're doing things, okay? Post a picture of you visiting somewhere. Post a picture of you out with the family. These are just types of content that you can share. So you don't have to do all of this, but by doing at least one a day, the most important thing is showing that your page is active and that you're consistent, okay? So I took a dip at Christmas time, okay? And after Christmas time, because I was caring for somebody, so I was really tired, and it just took all of my energy, and I was doing a lot of traveling by public transport. However, a lot of people had no idea that that I was as tired as as I actually was, because I was making sure I was putting something each day. I was posting, oh, on the train, on the journey. I'd done a quick video when I could. I didn't worry about if I couldn't, because I knew, all it takes is just a picture of a quote and just some little advice on the top was all I was going to need to do to make sure my page was at least active. Ensuring that you're still speaking to people. You need to, in order for your business to thrive, you need to ensure that you're speaking to people. So the most important thing is making sure you've got one post on your page a day, and use your time, your energy, if you're in really bad condition, to speak to people, because your business can only thrive if you're speaking to people, okay? Now, if you're having a better day, you can do all of the things, and then you're going to feel great because you've achieved so much as well. So life experiences, then the images, lifestyle quotes, funny pictures, something to get people engaged. Like I posted a picture the other day. I was doing I was playing around with Snapchat, and did you see this, Christy? I ended up with it was ears, but the ears appeared here as well, and it ended up with like a moustache, but it was like there was eyes as well, these creepy, and it looked like the devil was on my face. It was really creepy. But I was like, oh my god, that's like, I have to share that. So I was like, so when a Snapchat moment goes wrong, and I share that. So it's something amusing, and the feedback I got from that, because engagement on your page is important.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you're posting, engagement. And when you're in online business and stuff, if you're sharing something about Snapchat, it's still social media related. Yeah. So it's just funny, okay? So that's fine. Doing blogs. Now, this isn't a must. Try and do one once a week. I struggle with this because of my focus. I'm not going to lie to you, I do struggle with this, but when I do one, I make sure it's a good one, okay? So you don't stress yourself out, and there's no point in just putting any old thing up there. You want it to be quality. So only do a blog post if your head's in it and your heart's in it, because you want it to be something really seriously worthwhile, okay?
Also, let me add something in there, Amanda. Facebook is actually giving more emphasis to the notes section. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but under the More tab, there's the notes section.
You can do it on your personal page as well.
Yes, and they're actually letting you put images in there and links, and so they're treating it kind of like a blog section. So if you're having difficulty putting a blog in there, and it's just, I'm not saying default to your Facebook page, because we'll talk about the issues about putting all things on the Facebook page too. That could actually be a problem for you should your page go down. But it is an alternative for putting content out there that you can use, put out there and then maybe take off and put someplace else at another time.
Well, the thing is, like on that, you could, and just a thought there. If you're posting it on your page during the week and you're doing things like that, take a look through and take all your points from your page during the week. And then at the weekend, if you've got time, don't stress yourself. The important thing is, do not stress yourself if you can't do it, because stress will make you ill. Stress will make you tense. Stress will cause you pain. Then you'll be put out for the next entire week. So that, I cannot emphasize that enough, okay? Because the thing is, when you do the things and you can get a lot done, that's when you feel really achieved. So you want to keep yourself as minimal stress as possible. But you could take all your points from the week that you've done in your Facebook, refresh your brain. If you've done a live video, turn that into a blog post. So I spoke a bit about repurposing content last week, and you can go, if anybody didn't see the live last week, our broadcast, then you can check out, we've got on YouTube and SoundCloud as well, so you can listen to us on the move if you want to hear our voices again. But yeah, so there's always ways to work around everything. Okay, there's always ways. Also, if you're away to like a meeting with a prospect, tell people that can be a post. Just a way to meet this lovely blah blah blah, a nice business meeting, had a nice business lunch with this person, and we were at, and tagging the place that you were at. There's so many things you can do. Photos of you and your team if you've got a team. Now, if you've got a team, okay, you always have a team, because the people that you're working beside, regardless if they're under you or above you, they're still your team. Okay, so regardless if you've got any signed up team or not, you class everybody around you, and everybody you're working with is your team. Now, Christy, I'll just explain that a bit. Christy, we are not linked, i.e. monetary ways in any way. Like we're just linked because we found each other, and we're like, we connect as a team, so your team is what you make around you. Okay. You can have somebody in another company that you're working with to keep motivated and everything. That's a member of your team, because they're working with you. Okay. Your team is what you make it. Curiosity posts. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a curiosity post. Christy, you're good at these.
Oh gosh, having a fibro moment, a curiosity post, well, let's take, can sex make you a better marketer? Well, listen into today's live, and I'll tell you how. That could be a curiosity post.
Perfect, because somebody's going to see that, and they're going to be, ooh, that sounds interesting. I'm curious about this. We might use this. Oh my goodness, I'm going to share that on my wall. See how many people pop by for a listen. But yeah, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect, Christy. I knew you would be able to think of something. Webinar links. You might have webinars through a company you're with, that you're partnered with or something. You might be doing a webinar, or you've always got something you can be sharing. We have wake up calls. We have webinar trainings and stuff we can share through the organization that we use, and that as well is really good curiosity, and to have people come along and see what you're doing as well. So that was like post ideas. So you don't have to do all of them, but by looking at all of them, you have people are like, I have nothing to post. I didn't know what to post. There is so much choice. That isn't even all. Okay, that's just a nice little kind of idea, and a checklist to go by to refresh your mind, to keep you motivated. So you could do the easier ones are sharing a quote. Don't just make your page all quotes all of the time. Try and mix it up a bit, because there's lots of people that are out there saying they're network marketers, and all they're doing is sharing quotes all flipping day, and they need to be given a little bit more than just. So you could have a picture of something, I don't know, like a team picture, and then giving tips on how to build a team. You could, and it takes 2 minutes to just write something up. Okay, so write a little bit about mindset and show a picture of a brain or whatever. It doesn't take long to do that. So let me just go down to fan page.
We can put this document up in the oops, we could put this document up into the onto the page, right?
Yep.
All right. Shall we be
so let me think about what to do with that, actually. we'll have a think about how we're going to show that document, how we're going to put it out, but you'll be sure to all know, anybody listening, anybody watching, you will know when it's up, okay, and you'll know when the score
It
when
won't
it's
be long.
up. No. Okay, so your fan page is pretty much the same as your personal page. However, you want to make it a bit more businessy. You don't want it to all be just you out and about, like with the kids and things like that, because you would have a lot of that on your personal page. Stats on your daily activities. So if you've been doing any email marketing, you could show your stats of how many leads you gathered. You could show blah, 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 other stats, what you've earned, that's curiosity as well. People are like, oh, how did they earn all that money, or how did they earn that today? And so that's good as well. Videos, articles, blogs. Now, if you are new and you're very fresh to online business, then yeah, go ahead and share relevant stuff from business blogs and things like that, articles and stuff. But when you've been in the business for a little while, you want to be sharing your own content, okay? Because that's branding you, okay? Don't just forever be sharing everybody else's stuff, okay? Right. You want to create your own stuff. Right. And if you do, if you do share other people's stuff, make sure that you put in the source if the source isn't clear already, okay? Make sure this, because you don't want to be getting all the credit for the work that somebody else has done, okay? That goes for pictures and posts, and you get done for copyright and stuff. So I just want to be clear on that to save yourselves. So post some images, like business kind of images, random questions. So can you think of random questions, like curiosity questions?
Well, this is a lot of maybe we can offer a special webinar on how to do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And go over some of this stuff with people, because it is a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
How to pick out the various things. Because I find difficulty getting a lot of this stuff done myself, and then I have to pick out what is the most important thing for me to do that day. It might be, like you're talking about a curiosity post or an inspiration post. One of the things that has worked very well for me is finding a very good stock photo, which stock photos, folks, are free photos that you can share commercially.
You can get from Pixabay as well.
They're royalty free, and you find a quote that you like, and you just put it over the image, and you can do it through a program called Canva, and you put that up on your page. And there is a way that you can grow that post organically. I mean, I have one that's grown over 11,000 views with just one what is it called? Inspirational quote.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
and it's really built the reach on my page just from one inspirational quote. I mean, it's amazing, but it's these things are very powerful. The things that you're sharing here, extremely powerful. So
yes, so we won't do anymore because I'll be here all week. However, all these things that I've shared, you don't have to do them all. You can pick what's most important. Like I said, make sure you're putting at least one piece out of that content list, out of those ideas. Make sure you're picking at least one thing, because you want to make sure your page is active and looks active and show people, because when you're speaking to people, you want to make sure that you're speaking to people. But when you're speaking to them, the first thing they're going to do is look at your page.
Yes.
You're going to look at your page, so you want to show something worthwhile that backs up what you're saying in private message. You have to back up everything, because people will be watching you even if you don't think they're watching you.
Yes, they are.
I've had people watching me for a year and they're just coming out the woodwork now and saying, I've been watching you for blah blah, I love your story, and and I'm like, whoa, they've been hiding in the shadows.
They do. They really do. They do. So this is good stuff, my friend. Very, very good. And gosh, I hope I like the topics that we had today. They're very well rounded, and I hope they're very helpful to people. And got very organized this week so that we have links to go with the things that we shared with you, so that for some of you that just might have a little difficulty watching the video again, maybe you can listen to the SoundCloud audio, or if you like to read, then you'll have some articles here for you to read along with the content here off of the video or the SoundCloud audio. So, but anyway, I think this concludes our broadcast. Is there anything that you'd like to end the broadcast with today, Amanda?
Actually, yes, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody, including yourself, Honey Bun, Christy. Everybody who has given so much support already. We've had people contacting us that we've never met before, and they've been just finding us through hashtags and things like that. Also, one last thing, and I've been saying this every week, and I'm going to say it every week until I find what I want. I want to find a male entrepreneur that has fibromyalgia to come on our show as a guest. Okay? Yeah. Because I think that the male fibro warriors, they need to be have a bit of awareness as well, because it seems to be all women, and I really would like to help raise awareness for you guys as well.
Well, we may just have somebody here, Amanda, and we'll talk about that offline.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you, everybody.
Hey, if anybody knows anybody that Amanda just mentioned, that we're looking for that male entrepreneur who has fibromyalgia, please send them our way, and we'd like to chat with them, see if they'd like to come on and share some of their wisdom with you. So anyway, we'll call that a wrap, huh?
Yes, I think we've tired our viewers out.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.